In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to use Hope Chest to find ancestors who may need ordinances to go to the temple. Hope Chest is valuable because it allows you to go farther back in your tree and then turn around from an ancestor in 1750 or 1700, come back, view their descendants in the late 1800s who are your cousins. But now, because you went back to 1750 or 1700, the pyramid of cousins that you're looking at is much bigger than if you're just going back to 1800 like you're needing to do when you use the descendancy view on Family Search. So if you were going to use Hope Chest to find some ancestors who need ordinances, is to add Hope Chest to your web page. You do this by opening a new tab and typing in Google Chrome Web Store. Once you go to the Google Chrome Web Store, there's a few different options, but what you're wanting is the Chrome Web Store that has extensions. And so when you click that, it'll open up the web store, and you're going to type in Hope Chest. And what comes up, there's sometimes there are others, but what you want is this Hope Chest with the brown picture of a Hope Chest by Eric Vance. It has rated since I already have it, but if you don't have it, you would click Add to Chrome, and then a little box would come up here that would have the option of Add the Extension, and you'd click Add the Extension. And at that point, you would have added Hope Chest to your website or your web page. At that point, you will notice that when you're on Family Search and actively in the tree, the Hope Chest is brown, meaning that you can use it. So what I want to do is demonstrate finding somebody using the Hope Chest. I'm going to go to this James Washington Wakefield. When I hover over his name, a tree appears at the base of his name. I'm going to left click on that little tree, and that'll put James in the middle. But you'll notice that James is born in 1810, which isn't far enough back. So I'm going to go back. I want to get somebody around 1750. So there's John Henry. Again, I hover on him, and I click the fan at the base of his name, and now I have John Henry in the main section. I have to change the view to use Hope Chest. It doesn't work in the fan chart view. So I come up here, and I click the down arrow. And for Hope Chest, I use Landscape. If I was going to do a descendancy search, I would use Descendancy View, but I'm going to click Landscape. And at this point, I have John Henry with his ancestors going this way and his descendants coming this way. I'm going to use the Hope Chest icon to open up and begin the search. You can see that if I wanted to, I could click the Hope Chest and see what already is in there. I don't want to search ancestors because that just takes me farther back and gets it harder to find resources like sources. What I want to do is search descendants. So if I click search descendants, sometimes nothing happens when you first start to use Hope Chest. It's a little bit of a finicky program. And so what I always find is that I need to just go ahead and click the refresh button. And once I've refreshed it, then when I click the Hope Chest again and click Search Descendants, then it starts to work. Now this is a little bit different for mine than for yours because I have the paid version. If you're going to do it from the free version, a bigger box will open up explaining Hope Chest, and then at the bottom it'll offer for you to buy it. But there's also an option down there that says Just Do Search. And so you're going to go ahead and click the Just Do Search, and then at that point you would start the search. Because I have the paid version, I went ahead and created a folder that it will go into called John Henry, and so at that point I'm going to start the search. What happens is a little yellow box goes around bouncing from person to person, reviewing their information and seeing if they have people in their family that need ordinances. And so I let it run for a while. Now what I will tell you is that I have already run it, and so I'm going to stop this run. I could pause it or stop it, or I could look at Hope Chest while it's running. That's you can leave it running. Sometimes runs will take 30 minutes or an hour, and so you can go in and see what the progress is and see if there's anything already in the hope chest. If there isn't, just let it keep running. But since I've already run this, I'm going to stop it. I'll just open up the hope chest, and when I open the hope chest, you see that for mine, there's nothing in the inbox. Yours will have everything drop into the inbox. Since I made that folder, it goes into that folder. And you'll see that I've got a lot of different things. One of the things that's nice about the paid version is I'm able to have it show me different things. And so I always have it include the orange temples, because I find that sometimes that's a great place for me to find people that need ordinances. It's not hard to find a birth date or a death place or whatever and make it so I have enough information and can take some of these people to the temple. I've also noticed lately that there's a lot of times that the information just needs to be standardized, and then once the computer can read that standard date, it now counts it as a place or a date where it wasn't counting it before. So it's actually easier nowadays to turn some of the orange temples green that way. But anyway, the way that Hope Chest portrays things is if the ordinance is completed, they do this dark gray. If you need the ordinance but don't have enough information, they do these dotted boxes. If it's ready to go, they have enough information and they need the ordinance, it's a green tab like this. If somebody's already requested it, they make it a yellow one that hasn't been printed. So it's just like on Family Search. So all you'd have to do at this point, once I've made this run, yours would only have these green ones in it. So this first one with the endowment, you would want to go and look at their person page, and that's found by clicking this orange icon. Once you click that, the orange icon opens up into the person's person page, and so I have Andrew F., Andy, Allison. I first of all probably am going to want to take this Andy out. Somebody, when they put it in, put his nickname of Andy into his formal name. And you'll notice all of the different sources that are over here in the record hints don't have Andy, it's just Andrew. And so that's going to be one of the first things I'm going to do. I don't want to take him to the temple having every time them say the nickname as well as the official name. So to do that, I would just click the edit, and then I would, on his name, come and remove the Andy. And then in the reason this information is correct, type I moved the nickname Andy to the other information section, and then save it. And now we've got Andrew F. Allison, and I want to remember to come down here, and you'll notice it's already there as an alternate name, Andy Allison. So I don't even need to go and add that. Now, as I continue to try to get him a little bit more dressed up to take him to the temple before I automatically request, you'll notice that I have a data problem, that he was married before he was 12, and so that's not too great. And the reason is because somebody put in an estimated marriage date of 1877, and so he would have at that time been just 8 years old, and his wife is older than him by a significant amount. And that might make you kind of go, well, is that even correct? I mean, did he really marry a woman who was 14 years older than him? That's interesting. So, and we don't have any parents. I don't know if we'll be able to find parents as we go forward. But what we do have right off the bat are these census records. And you'll notice this one. I always love the 1900 census record because it has a little bit more information, and it has information we want. And I'll show that to you. We go to this census record, and if you look down it, you'll see that we have Andrew F. Allison, and his wife is Nancy, and his son is Frank. And so when you come here, Nancy and Frank, and so that's good. And then you'll notice that Nancy is that much older than Frank, than Andrew. And so everything matches up. And the really neat thing is to see we've got the month and year of his birth and the place of his birth. in addition, we have the marriage year of 1891, which is very different and is going to work for us and get rid of this data problem. So let's go ahead and attach this source real quickly. And so in that year, they're living at this place. I'm going to want to go back and change this to March and to Tennessee. And so I'm going to say verifies birth and family relations. That's the reason that I'm attaching this source. And so I go ahead and click attach. And then I compare here. And I bring over that. Again, I can put March in for her. And the same applies, and the son has the same thing, a little bit less information on this one, so we don't have to fix him up as much. And then I attached the census record to 3 people in that amount of time. When I come back to Andrew, what I want to do is I want to come and first of all change the birth. And when I open up the census record, the birth information said that he was born in March of '69. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to type in MAR, and then the computer gives me the right thing. I click that, and now it's standardized. Here, I'm going to get rid of all that, and I'm just going to type in Tennessee, and then the computer gives me the right standard. And so now I say verified on 1900 census record, and then I go ahead and save that. Now his birth is so much better than it used to be. And I want to do the other thing I wanted out of there is the marriage date. So 1891. If we went and looked at this actual picture, there's a column that says years married, and that would say 9. And that's where we get that 1891 from. So I'm going to go down to this, and I'm going to click and edit oh, this is interesting. We've got an actual marriage date that's more accurate, and so this one I'm going to trust. I'm just going to edit here on this one, and I'm going to delete it and say inaccurate information. And then I'm going to delete that marriage date. And so now I've got the right one. I want to go ahead and standardize it. So I'll come behind, I'll click, I'll put in a space, and then I'll get the right formatting. Same thing here. I come behind, put in a space, and then I do Coffee, Tennessee, United States, and I simply say standardized. And then I save it. And so now I've got the right marriage information in there. And then I'm going to come back up here, and you'll see that my data problem is gone. So I've got his name fixed, I've got his birth fixed. Death, I don't have as much information as I want to have. When I come on down here, all they ever had was the one child. And if I wanted to put you through having to watch me attach 2 more sources, I would attach these, and neither one of the sources have additional children. That's what we would hope for, perhaps, and to be able to add children. We don't, with any of those, we don't have any information about parents. The last thing I might do is click on Ancestry and see if Ancestry has any kind of a record. Right off the bat, I've got this Find a Grave. If I click the Find a Grave, you'll see that I've got Nancy and Frank, so this is my person. And I always like to go to the website, and you see that I've got, he died in 1935, but I've got Coffee, Tennessee. And so if I come back to Andy, I can edit that and say that he died in Coffee, Tennessee, and then click that and say verified on Find a Grave. And then I go ahead and save that. And now I've improved his birth and his death information. Just for your edification or whatever, I will show you real quickly how to attach this source using RecordSeek. RecordSeek is something that you have to go and bring on as an extension. And so you would just search, go to your your app store and look up Record Seek, add it, and then it is here. I've also got it here, so I can use either one of those. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this information. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to then come up to Record Seek and click Record Seek, and it says you want to create a source. Where do you want to create it? I say I want to create it in Family Search, and then it does this great source for me where it titles it, puts the link in, and then this is what I'm going to change, because I want to have it more organized like it is on the indexed information, and so now you see it's all pretty like that. And that, if I hadn't taken this information, this would have just been empty. And so I go ahead at this point and I will click Next. And now I need to go back to Andy and I need to get his number. And so when I click on that, I copy the ID. The Record Seek is behind here. I click it and I add in Andy's number and I click Next, and Andrew F. Allison. Why do I want to attach it? Verifies birth, death, and family. And then I go ahead and create and attach. Oh, I could go ahead and, with these you have to manually tag them rather than just having it automatic like it is on Family Search. So I create that, and now it's done. I'll get rid of that. I'll get rid of our little hope chest. I bring this back up, and now you see if I refresh, right now we have 2 sources. When I refresh, we'll have 3 sources, and that top source will be the source that proved this death information here. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and take him to the temple, and you can see, I didn't, when I went here, I didn't have, oh, look at that, will you? Son of David and Mary Elizabeth Talley. So I've got David Allison and Mary Elizabeth Talley. I'm sorry, I've got to go back here and do add parents. And the first one I'm going to add is David Allison. And he's a male and he's deceased. And I don't have any other information. I click Next. Let me make sure I don't have any other information. No, I don't. And then I'm going to come back here, and they didn't find anybody, so I create that person. Now I have David. I'm going to add the spouse, and the spouse is going to be Mary Elizabeth Talley. Okay. Mary Elizabeth Talley. She's a female. She's deceased. And I go ahead and click Next. Now they find David Allison and Mary Elizabeth Talley kind of neat. That's going to be my people, I'm pretty sure. You remember that he was born in '69, and so that's going to date-wise work out real nicely in terms of her birth. You see, if you're not certain, you go ahead and create a new person. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this and believe that that is my too big of a coincidence to have Mary Elizabeth Talley, David Allison in Tennessee, and her birth be perfect with it. So I'm going to go ahead and add that match. And so now I've got parents, and I now, when I request the ordinances, I'm going to be able to seal to parents that I wouldn't have been able to before. Now I'm ready to request these ordinances, and I had 3 of them done. You'll remember we went looking for the endowment, but now we get to seal to parents too, because we bothered to go in and take the time to discover things about the family. I request it. I go ahead and click Request again. It gives me the rules. Are they your family? Were they born more than 110 years ago? They're not Jewish Holocaust victims. They're not famous people. I accept it, and then at that point, when I go to my temple all reserved, I have Andrew, and with his endowment and sealing to parents, all I need to do is click here and print it if I want to.